It's been said that Bigfoot exhibits nocturnal behavior, perhaps to hunt or to avoid detection. But the cloak of darkness couldn't hide the creature in the stunning footage you're about to see.
From seasoned investigators who've spent over a decade chasing the unknown to everyday people who stumbled into the unexplainable, these encounters may be some of the most chilling evidence of Bigfoot yet. Encounter 1. The video begins with a group known as the Cali Bigfoots team heading back into a remote forest they've been exploring for more than 16 years. For them, this isn't just another hike. They believe this stretch of woods is special, a place where the strange and unexplainable happen. Over the years, they've reported odd sounds, sightings of tall figures moving among the trees, and even strange lapses in time that they can't explain. To them, this place isn't just a forest, it's a hotspot for mystery. As they walk through the area, the team points out little details that seem off. Some parts of the ground look unnaturally flattened, almost like something heavy had been lying there. Trees appear bent in odd ways, and branches look as if they've been deliberately twisted or broken. None of this looks random. One particular spot catches their attention because it looks like someone actually cleared it with a tool, almost as if a machete had been used. The ground is so smooth and open that it doesn't feel natural at all, and it raises questions about who or what could have done it.
Dude, it's so flat. I don't know if it was this flat the last time.
Why is it all like somebody cut it? Yeah, somebody came in and cut it.
They decide to set up their equipment. Over the years, they've made it a habit to keep microphones running and wear headphones at night so they can catch every little sound around the camp. They've gotten used to hearing noises that don't quite add up. Dishes clinking on their own, items on the table shifting when no one's near them. Normally, they keep their thermal camera pointed outward toward the tree line, hoping to catch movement. But this time, they decided to aim it directly at their camp. The thinking is simple. If the noises always seem to come from right around their base, then maybe the best chance of capturing something is to watch themselves instead of the woods. To stay hidden, one of the members dresses the camera tripod in a ghillie suit, trying to camouflage it so it won't stand out. They figure if anything or anyone comes close, it won't notice the gear. With everything in place, they continue exploring the surroundings. That's when they stumble on something even stranger. Among the trees, they spot what looks like a crude shelter made out of branches and leaves. It's shaped in a way that doesn't seem accidental, almost like something had built it to rest inside. As if that weren't odd enough, they also discover a braided string tied between two trees. It's man-made, no question about it, but finding something like that in the middle of nowhere, in a place they know isn't visited by hikers, is unsettling. It adds another layer of mystery to a location that already feels charged with odd energy.
Looks like a footprint to me. Going up or going down?
There's another deep one over there.
Looks down.
Moving deeper, they start looking for physical signs of whatever might be in the area. Soon enough, they spot what appear to be footprints pressed into the earth. The prints are large, much bigger than any of their own, and sink deeply into the soil as if left by something heavy. They crouch down, studying the shape. The toes are clear, spread wide, and natural-looking, not like a boot print or a shoe. The impression gives the sense of a giant foot stepping through, and it leaves the team buzzing with questions. Was something massive walking this very trail not too long ago? With their curiosity peaking, they decide to leave out some fruit as an offering, hoping that if a creature really is nearby, it might take it. They carefully set the fruit near camp and then focus on making sure their thermal camera is in the right spot, hidden and ready to capture whatever might approach after dark. As night settles in, the woods change and feel alive in a whole new way. The croaking of frogs gets so loud it almost drowns everything else out, until one of the team members tosses a piece of bark toward them to make the noise stop for a moment. The forest feels heavy with sounds, but underneath all that noise, smaller, quieter sounds begin to slip through.
Try to look for eye shine. That'll work too. That'll work too. I'll go turn mine off.
With their microphones, they catch what seems like footsteps slowly moving around the camp. The steps are careful but very quiet, almost like whatever is out there is trying to sneak past without being noticed at all. To the human ear, it could just mix in with the natural sounds of the forest at night. But thanks to their sensitive audio gear, the hidden movement is clear, sharp, and absolutely impossible to miss. The team sits frozen, listening hard. The footsteps don't rush or scatter. They move slow and steady, almost like something is carefully testing the ground, keeping its distance but never really leaving. The hours crawl by, and the sounds just keep going. By the time the birds start singing at dawn, the steps finally fade away. For more than 4 long hours, something had been circling them, staying just outside the thin glow of their campfire light. But then comes a moment that shakes them even more. At about 7:17 in the morning, the whole forest suddenly falls quiet. The birds stop singing. The frogs go silent. Even the wind seems to freeze. Anyone who has ever spent time in the woods knows how unsettling this can feel. When nature itself shuts down, it usually means something unusual, or maybe even dangerous, is nearby.
It wasn't fast walking, it was smart walking.
Yeah, kind of like
Try not, yep. It was trying not to be heard, even though we could hear it.
The team has felt this before, and they know it's a warning that whatever is out there is now closer than it has ever been before. When daylight comes, they inspect the area and find a patch of ground near their gear that looks pressed down, as though something large had sat or lain there overnight. Nothing is damaged and nothing is missing, but the thought of something creeping so close while they slept makes the experience far more unnerving. For them, this wasn't just a coincidence. Something intelligent was near, moving carefully and deliberately, making sure it wasn't seen. Although they don't get a direct sighting or a clear video of a creature, the combination of audio evidence, physical impressions, and the eerie silence of the woods convinces them that they were watched. Whether it was Bigfoot or another unknown presence, they can't say for sure. But the tension of that night lingers with them. To the team, it was one of their most compelling encounters yet. Encounter 2. From there, the story shifts to another investigator, a creator known as Dee, who runs the YouTube channel Dee's Dark Adventures. Unlike the Cali Bigfoots team, Dee wasn't out in the woods with cameras and gear. She was simply on vacation, staying in a bungalow in Ohio, when she decided to take her 2 dogs for a walk. What was supposed to be a peaceful outing quickly turned into something she would never forget. On June 29, 2024, the weather was pleasant, and Dee set out into the woods with her dogs at her side. At first, everything seemed normal, but soon she noticed that the dogs were behaving strangely. They were restless, pulling at their leashes, and acting more alert than usual.
Laura, calm yourself. You're gonna get yourself in trouble. Come here. My dogs won't harm you. They're just really excited. Stay close.
Anyone with pets knows that animals often pick up on things humans can't, and their unease immediately put her on edge. Trying to calm them, she spoke out loud, reassuring them and herself. She even called into the trees, half-jokingly telling whatever might be there that her dogs wouldn't hurt anyone.
Don't you do it. What you got? No. Leave it. I said leave it. Come here. Samara. Samara. Come. Here. Good girl.
But as she walked further, the feeling of being watched grew heavier. It was that prickling sensation at the back of her neck, the kind that makes you check over your shoulder again and again, even when nothing is there. Then she heard it, a sound like a footstep behind her. Maybe it was just a branch falling, she told herself, but the timing made her stomach twist with nerves. Her dogs grew more agitated, pulling toward the trees and barking at something she couldn't see. Their barks echoed into the distance, sharp and unsettled, breaking the usual peace of the woods. At one point, she even heard a distinct knocking sound echo through the forest, slow and deliberate, as if answering the dogs. Many who follow Bigfoot stories know that wood knocks are often considered a form of communication. Was this a coincidence, or something more waiting just out of sight.
Oh, see? Mara. Do you not like my toy? Girls, stay close.
The deeper she went, the worse the feeling became. Leaves rustled where no wind blew, and she heard twigs snapping in the distance, as if something large was keeping pace with her. Her unease turned to real fear when she noticed shadowy movement at the edge of her vision, figures slipping behind trees whenever she tried to focus on them. She decided it was time to head back, so she guided her dogs toward the trail. But even as they walked, the strange noises didn't stop.
Hey, stop, don't you dare. Stop. Samara, don't you dare. Get over here. Don't do that.
Somewhere in the distance, she heard rocks being hit together, sharp and clear, not like anything a normal animal would make. Her steps grew faster, and her dog stayed close by her side, clearly feeling the tension too. Then came the most chilling moment. As she neared the edge of the forest, she thought she saw eyes reflecting in the trees, glowing faintly from the dim light.
I can't get to zoom in any more than that, dang it. I see eyes. This is silver. Come.
She tried to zoom in with her camera, but couldn't get clear focus. Still, the impression of something watching her was undeniable. She hurried out of the woods and back to her car, her heart pounding. Later, when reviewing the footage she had taken, she realized she may have caught a figure standing silently among the trees. Whether it was a trick of the light, a shadow, or something truly strange, she couldn't say. But the experience rattled her enough that she felt compelled to share it online. After she uploaded the video, comments poured in. Some viewers insisted she had let her imagination get the best of her. Others swore they saw a dark figure hidden in the footage, comparing it to a Chewbacca-like shape lurking behind the branches. To this day, no one can say for sure what she encountered, but the mystery hangs over that walk like a dark cloud. Encounter 3. The narrative then shifts again to another creator, a man known as Bear, who runs the channel Exploring with Bear. On February 27, 2025, he uploaded what he described as his most terrifying solo camping trip. His destination was a place ominously nicknamed Shadow Figure Forest.
Welcome back to another live adventure, fam. If you're new to the channel, I'm Jer Bear. Today we're back at Shadow Figure Forest, where there's multiple, what would you call them, structures. We've seen balls of light and shadow figures moving around here.
According to local stories, this forest has long been associated with eerie noises, strange shapes, and even sightings of large humanoid figures. Bear's goal was simple: camp overnight and see what happens. But as soon as he stepped into the woods, the air felt different, heavy, almost like it was watching him. The sun was dropping fast, stretching long shadows between the trees, and already he was noticing strange formations. Branches bent and twisted into shapes that looked more like nests than anything natural. At one spot, he found a large circular structure with logs and bark stacked together in a way that seemed almost too neat, as if someone, or something, had placed them carefully. It looked more like a boundary marking territory than random forest debris. Venturing deeper, the uneasy feeling only grew stronger. Every snap of a twig made him pause, and the silence between sounds felt louder than usual. Then, just ahead, he caught sight of a dark figure darting behind a tree.
And then look, this whole thing's circled. Something moved back here though. I seen two things move.
It was gone in an instant, too far to see clearly, but enough to send a cold shiver racing down his back. Then came the sound that stopped him dead in his tracks, a whistle. It wasn't the wind, it wasn't a bird. It was faint but sharp, drifting through the trees like it was aimed right at him. People who spend time outdoors often say you just know when a sound isn't natural, and this one felt purposeful. Testing the moment, Bear tried a wood knock, hoping maybe he'd get a reply. Almost instantly, the forest answered, but not with a knock. Instead, a deep, guttural growl rolled out of the darkness.
Listen. Whoop!
It was raw, primal, and unlike anything he had ever heard before. The noise echoed in his chest, and with the night falling fast, fear gripped him harder than ever. He tried to shake it off and continued setting up camp, but the night didn't get easier. Viewers who later watched the footage noticed things Bear hadn't seen at the time. At around the 7:30 mark, a dark figure appears to move across the reflection of the water in the background. Later in the video, around 15:54, something seems to swing from a tree in the distance, unnaturally, like an invisible force was tugging it. Bear hadn't noticed these details while filming, but when he reviewed the footage later, the realization horrified him. As the hours dragged on, the strange noises never stopped. Snaps, cracks, and shifting sounds seemed to follow him wherever he went. Eventually, he decided he couldn't take it anymore. He packed up his things, but as he made his way out of the forest, the most terrifying part began. With every step he took, he heard another step behind him, leaves crunching, branches snapping, as if something was following just out of sight. He never saw what it was, but the sound alone was enough to make him break into a cold sweat.
That was an odd sound.
By the time he finally reached the edge of the forest, the relief of stepping back into open ground was overwhelming. It started with panic in his voice. "What the heck was that?" he whispered, spinning around with his camera.
What the heck was that?
Something was moving behind him, close enough that he could almost feel it breathing down his neck. "That was coming right up behind me. It's time to leave." Bear quickened his steps, his heart pounding, but he never stopped filming.
All right, guys, I'm gonna cut the camera and get out of here.
Even as fear clawed at him, he wanted to capture the moment. He rushed toward his truck, desperate to get out of there, when another sound froze him, a growl. Low, deep, and much closer than before. That was enough. Encounter 4. Just a few weeks later, on January 2nd, Bear returned for another solo trip. This time, he decided to try something new. He placed an apple near his campsite as bait, hoping it might draw out whatever had been moving around the woods. The night started out quiet, but that calm didn't last long. Out of nowhere, a sharp metallic bang rang through the forest. It sounded like a heavy gate slamming shut, echoing in the distance. Bear jumped up and scanned the area with his flashlight. But when he got closer, there was nothing. No gate, no metal, and nothing that could have made the noise.
What is this?
Morning brought more surprises. The apple he'd left out was gone, completely vanished without even a core or a bite mark left behind. Right beside where it had been, he noticed fresh footprints pressed into the soil. They weren't his own, and they hadn't been there the night before. Stranger still, when he finally made it back to his truck, he saw that something had struck it during the night. A dent and scratches ran across the side, as if something large had slammed into it, before disappearing back into the trees. For Bear, this second trip only deepened the mystery. He wasn't just dealing with eerie sounds anymore. Whatever was out there seemed to be getting closer, braver, and far more physical. Encounter 5. It all started with what was supposed to be a peaceful camping trip. Lomar from Paranormal Discovery wanted to test himself in a forest known for strange stories. He packed light, just the essentials, and even brought his dog along, thinking the animal would act as both company and an extra sense of awareness in case something was lurking nearby. As the sun dipped behind the trees, the forest grew quiet in that heavy way that makes you feel like you're being watched.
Extremely terrifying. I'm personally scared right now. Like the way the trees look.
At first, the sounds around the camp didn't seem too unusual. Small cracks in the brush, distant animal calls. It was all part of the wilderness. But as the night stretched on, those noises became sharper, heavier, and far more unsettling. His dog was the first to pick up on it. Its ears shot up, its body stiff, and it stared out into the darkness with a low growl. Lomar tried to calm it, but the tension was building with every passing minute. Then came the sound of something circling the tent. It wasn't light footsteps, but deliberate, weighty ones, moving with intention. Every time Lomar shifted or his dog growled, the steps would pause, only to continue again from a different angle, as if whatever it was had intelligence and knew how to stalk without being seen.
Anyone out here?
I'm nasty.
You're nasty. Who are you?
Branches snapped underfoot, followed by deep guttural growls that didn't match any normal woodland creature. What made the encounter worse was the sheer nearness of it all. At one point, a heavy thud hit the ground close to the tent, making the dog bark furiously. Lomar's chest pounded as the reality set in that this wasn't just imagination or overthinking.
Holy shit, holy. That stick's breaking.
Something large and likely aggressive was just outside, and it had no interest in leaving. His flashlight caught glimpses of shifting movement, but never enough detail to identify the figure. By now, his so-called fun camping trip had turned into a nightmare. He tried to keep calm, but the adrenaline and instinct to escape were too strong. He quickly packed what he could, grabbed his dog, and began heading back through the forest trail. Even while retreating, the noises didn't stop. Branches cracked in the shadows, following him as if the thing was driving him out rather than simply watching. When he finally reached his vehicle, breathless and shaken, the growls faded into the background. He left that night convinced that he had experienced something far beyond a normal animal encounter. This was no bear. Bears make noise, they crash through brush, they don't stalk quietly and deliberately. Whatever had circled him that night had a presence and awareness that felt unnatural, and Lomar made it clear later that he would think twice before ever camping alone in that forest again. Encounter 6. The last story comes from a different kind of adventurer. The host of the Hogget Project set out for what he expected to be a straightforward day hike. The trail was known for being remote, with thick trees and very little foot traffic, which was exactly the kind of solitude he enjoyed. With his gear strapped and a camera in hand, he walked several miles in before reaching a clearing where he planned to rest. The morning was cool, the air sharp with the scent of pine, but soon something far less pleasant began to drift in. A heavy, musky odor filled the air, the kind of smell that clings to your nose and makes you think of an animal's den. At first, he brushed it off as maybe a bear had passed through recently, since hikers often report strong scents in areas where bears forage.
Bright out here, and it was almost like it was a pure shadow that I was watching. Could have been a black bear. This is a wild place.
But this one was different. It was stronger, almost pungent, and it lingered as if the source was still close. Not long after, he began to notice the sounds. The forest, usually full of bird calls and rustling leaves, grew quiet in patches. Then came the snapping of twigs and the unmistakable rhythm of footsteps trailing him. He stopped. The sound stopped. He moved again, and the crunch followed. This wasn't his imagination. Something was pacing him from the trees. As he turned toward the noise, his eyes caught something tall and dark weaving between the trunks. For a moment, he thought it might be another hiker wearing dark clothing, but the size was off. The figure loomed larger than any human he'd ever seen before, with a motion that seemed too smooth, too controlled for a person crashing through thick underbrush. The unsettling part was how quickly it would vanish whenever he tried to focus on it. The deeper he went, the more intense the sensation of being watched became. A low, guttural growl echoed from the tree line, vibrating through the clearing in a way that chilled him to his core. His instinct told him not to run but to leave calmly, so he tightened his grip on his camera and retraced his steps carefully. Even as he made his way back toward the trailhead, the sounds of movement continued, shadowing him at a steady pace, as though the figure wanted him to know it was still there, watching.
Here you go, more bear scat. This has been a real peaceful hike. Other than when you stop and get attacked by the gnats and mosquitoes. I mean, that always happens though. That's to be expected.
Unlike his first strange experience, which felt more ghostly and hard to explain, this one had all the signs of something physical, something real. The tall figure, the giant tracks, the unsettling smell, and that low growl all fit together like pieces of a puzzle. It was the kind of puzzle many people in North America have described for years. To him, it was no longer just a creepy night in the woods. It felt like he had stepped right into one of the most disturbing Bigfoot encounters ever told. From shelters hidden deep in the forest, to glowing eyes and guttural growls that chased explorers from the woods, these encounters remind us that the unknown may be closer than we think.